Welcome to this agricultural track of this People Plus AI event that we are having now. And what a fantastic opening session that we had. Significant food for thought that also reminds me that whoever is participating in this session is getting free lunch. So, so ensure that you're here till the end. That's one. Why are we here? And how this session is going to go through and what do we expect out of this session is what we will do to start with. And can we have the presentation or the slide on? And to start with, we would like to introduce ourselves and we'll like to go through a round of introduction. I am Krishnan Palashana. I am the Managing Director India for Digital Green. Digital Green is an organization that is leveraging the power of technology and data science to power the farm sector, right? And I am not a tech person. I'm not a techie. So the simple thumb rule that we need to apply in this room is that if I can manage to understand the discussion that is going around, everyone in the world will understand. So I think we need to bring our level of discussions to my level. Okay, so make it, it's not a technology-based discussion. We'll be using technology. But the whole idea is how do we drive solutions. And my co-facilitator, moderator today is Anand.
Yeah, hi, Anand. I'm sure you heard JB say that I'm a farmer. And the reason he said that is because he's got free mangoes the last few years. So that's why he's been generous. Sorry? Oh, here. More importantly, free lunch and mangoes. So yeah, but I've been in the space in agri as a grassroots farmer for about 15 years. Most of my innovations have been failures, right? So that's again something which I should acknowledge. So I don't even know if I'm the right guy, but I'm here. But beside that, I also work for XStep. Been here for a few years. So one part of my job in XStep is that of the societal thinking. The organization focused on large-scale impact for communities. The other part is I also run a lab called the Value Interaction Lab, which is really about hacking audacious innovations. And the third part is, which is more of my full-time job now, is that of Apurva. So I don't know if you guys have seen the booth outside. That's a product platform for open innovation. And the focus of Apurva is to bring the voice of the communities onto a platform and really help distribute the ability to solve, right? So with that, and one, just to kind of understand, I know we want to do a quick introduction, but just a show of hands, how many of you come from the agri space? Okay, fantastic. And how many from the tech space? So it looks like a lot of overlap. That's nice. How many from the AI space? Nice. And generative AI? Okay, that's one. No, I want to go one more side. Anybody from the not-for-profits here? Very nice. Governments? Fantastic. So that's so the reason I went deep and broad is we'll have a breakout. So if you can distribute yourselves based on that. And I think the introduction will also help. So.
Thanks. Before we start, with this wide array of participants here that we have from different institutional groups, and the common thread being that we are all interested in this agriculture, livelihoods, agri-related aspect. So let us go through some introduction to understand that we are, or to ensure that we are all on the same page. Why are we talking about agriculture? Okay. Now, if we just look at India, agriculture drives the rural economy, full stop. There are 120 million farmers and 80% of them are women. And they produce, those 120 small and marginal farmers produce close to 40% of the food that is consumed at the rural area. There are large farmers who supply to large companies. These farmers are working in 15 agroeconomic zones across the umpteen number of states that we have. There are 650 plus commodities that are grown, and this sector contributes to close to 20% of our GDP. It's a huge sector that we are talking about. And if you look like that with 80% of the women, farmer is not a man anymore. So when we imagine the persona of a farmer, typically what comes to our mind is a man. No, 80% of them are actually women who is working on ground. So it's very important for our AI conversations also in the days to come. Now, who is a farmer? Typically, we can imagine somebody who has been traditionally for generations practicing certain things, and over that period of umpteen number of years of working, they have understood a little bit of plant science, a little bit of soil hydrology, a little bit of weather, chemistry, maths, finance, marketing. They know all those things. And these people are, as I mentioned earlier, contributing to rural productivity, employment, food and nutrition security at the local level, economy, prosperity. It's a huge, important sector for us. As we are marching towards what we ourselves call as an industrialized nation, agriculture still continues to and remain to be a major driver of the economy that we are having right now. Now, this farmer, centuries ago, they had a very linear function, but today, they are facing a lot of complexities. They are being affected, impacted by what we call as the climate change, and of course, the vagaries of the market. The variables are going up, uncertainties they are facing on a daily basis, and significant unpredictability in terms of weather, in terms of market, in terms of logistics, in terms of whatever you say, they are facing on a daily basis. That's why the role of this technology, role of AI comes into picture. And these farmers, very importantly, to overcome those uncertainties, unpredictable variables that they are facing on a daily basis, needs advisories. Advisories that will help them to enhance their productivity. India can actually grow at least twice the quantum of produce that they're already doing right now. There's tremendous opportunity to grow. We are about 40% less than the world average. B, they want to increase their income. The farmers, despite all the facilities that are available right now, majority of them are poor. They are earning much less. Still, they are contributing to the sector. And the third area, how do we help them to reduce the exposure to the risks that they are facing on a daily basis? So how can we help them to improve productivity, improve income, at the same time reduce risk exposure? And to get all these things done, they need information. They need advisory, right? Because information is what drives, it's the fuel for intelligence, right? And how do we continue to keep on giving that information to them is one. And to do that, while farmers themselves are doing tremendous job on ground, there are 65 Indian Council of Agriculture Research institutions across the country. There are 14 national research organizations. There are 6 specialized bureaus. There are 13 directorates who are specializing on different aspects. And the consultation group on international agriculture research, which is CGAIR, they have got so many chapters in India. So there is wealth of science-based information that is already available. How do we help the farmers access that science-based information through a simple language that they can understand, which is timely, which is targeted to them, and which is relevant. And on the other side, there is also this growing private sector. Mobile data coverage is increasing. We have got satellites, drones, sensors, whatnot is available. So how do we help the farmer to access all these technologies so that they are able to do their job well and thereby contribute to the larger national economy? So one side is how this information from top to bottom can flow, but there is even more, a fantastic job the farmers are doing on ground. And I pass on to Anand.
Sure. Let me also pull this. So let me also take a more meta perspective, right? So I'm just, maybe this should have come before he talked about, but we will have to recognize the fact that just like all the other problems we spoke about, agriculture problems are massively societal in nature, right? And the reason it is societal is because these are large problems, these are growing, these are evolving, and they're mutating. So for example, being a farmer, I'm sure many of you know this, is intervention I give, say as a pest or a disease control today, would not be relevant 6 months from now, right? Because of various reasons. One is the inability to have a unified way of practice. Some farmers may do certain things which might give them short-term benefit, but creates a lot of negative impact for the larger ecosystem. And then today we are looking at global warming, right? So we have enough negative externalities to suggest that these are very large, complex problems. So the need to solution also has to kind of align with the scale of the problem or the complexity of the problem. So it is absolutely imperative that the solutions we design have to work at speed, they have to work at scale, and have to be sustainable. Right? So whatever we do cannot work just for one community or for a period of time. They have to work in the long term. So given these characteristics, that the need for the solution to align with the problems, I think it's important that we all embrace exponential technology. And I think that was the point made by many of the speakers, that there are many exponential technologies today, including AI, and there is an absolute need to embrace these. But this cannot be done in isolation. And I think this was the point Krish was also talking about, which is this has to be done with communities. So one is the community of experts coming together, the community of farmers, and the ecosystem itself. Right? So no one solution can be deployed by one organization or one team, but you will have to bring the larger ecosystem to solve, because the problem is not waiting for us to solve, it is mutating, so we will have to really work at scale to solve this. So bringing the ecosystem to create impact is very important. So with that, the second, like Krish talked about, what we thought we'll do today is, just go back here, it's kind of a little jumbled up. In fact, this is the old slides, I think. But we have, this is our flow today. We also requested a joint secretary, Samuel Praveen Kumar, to join us, because we work with the ministry pretty closely, and this is a session where, just like other systems, the government plays a very important role. So how do you get their perspectives, especially Sam, because he's been an advocate of innovation, so we wanted to get his thoughts. Post that, we will get into a breakout. So we'll probably break this into two groups. Like Krish said, one is to look at a top-down view of a problem, so which is how do you get the larger ecosystem to solve problems for the farmers. But the second side, I think we all have to recognize that farmers are innovators. So if you don't recognize that, we are assuming that we should keep pushing supply to the farmers. But if you don't keep them at the center of your design, then I think the rest of them become irrelevant. So how do you bring the farmers' innovation up? And how do you use that as a frame of reference for the larger ecosystem to work with? Right? Now, both of these are programs, pilots, which we are working with the ministry. And Samuel is very interested to understand what comes out of this community. Unfortunately, he had to make it here. He could not because of the parliament sessions. But these conversations would also get synthesized as part of a product called Apurva, and we want to be able to integrate this knowledge back into the work which we do, and also what the government does. Right? So that's the broad construct. We have two breakouts. One is going to be a top-down advisory. The other is a bottom-up farmers innovation. And we have about 70 minutes to do that. And then so few logistical items here, I'll reiterate it again, is we would want a lead from each of these tracks to present this as a synthesized version of your group. We would also want a couple of leads to be able to present this session as part of the breakout. So you will have one option to present to Nandan, and the other is also be part of a breakout. So I just thought I'll share that logistics also. So should we just go around the introductions? Yeah, let's start that. I'll try and bring in Samuel in the meantime. So can we just go around? If you can start with yourself and tag the next person. Yeah. Yeah. So what will help is your name, your organization, government, markets, private players, and also what is your interest. Just one few lines. Yeah.
Hi, this is Lakshmisha here. I'm a product manager in Microsoft. I'm here on personal capacity. Doing things using AI for solutioning is my interest, and that's why I'm here. Thanks.
Hi, this is Manoj. I'm from Oracle. I'm a distinguished engineer with Oracle working on AI and data science. I work very closely with a few government organizations in this space around data engineering and AI, like NIC, Department of Science and Technology, etc.
Hi, I'm Sudhir with Sattva Consulting, focus more on impact consulting. More interested in figuring out the technology and societal sort of intersectionality. So that's why I'm here.
Hi, Mitlesh here. I'm from EY. I work as a digital agriculture specialist as a director in EY, and kind of working in agri-tech for all my life. So I have a good passion about it.
Hi, my name is Jigar. I used to work at Wadhwani AI. My interest is mostly machine learning applied to solutions.
Hi, my name is Shalab. I work with an organization called Uplift and partnership with Wingshore. We are trying to build a insurance platform which integrates health and agri insurance together for millions of farmers. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tanmay, and I have founded a company named Nebula. We have been using deep learning and AI in agriculture since 2016, and we have built a product for quality testing of agri produce. Deployed it in more than 300 locations and tested more than 1 million samples for farmers. So I'm looking at what is going in AI in agriculture.
Hi, my name is Tejas. I head engineering at Jiva Agritech. We help farmers with advisory and also purchase their crop and sell it on in the value chain. We've been working both Indonesia and in India under the brand name of Agri Central.
Hello, my name is Bhaskar. I work in the IT services space, and my association with the team here goes back to 2010-13 when I was part of the team that built Aadhaar. So I've been reading about the changes, and I was very interested to learn about how we could contribute to agriculture as a space. So it's purely personal interest at this point in time.
Hi, I'm Namita. I'm with Digital Green, and my interest is really looking at how can we make these technologies accessible to farmers. So that's why I'm here.
Hi, my name is Yatish Rajawat. I'm a farmer. I work also in the area of public policy. We run an agricultural lab in a backward district in Haryana. My interest is to understand how AI could help in solving problems on the ground.
Hi, my name is Mehak. I work with VMware in digital transformation space, and I'm also a freelance consultant to Enaxi Digital Runners, which happens to be connecting 20,000 runners across tier 2 cities of India. So I just wanted to explore how we can use AI to use that network.
Yeah, hi. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paramveer Singh. I work as a consultant with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and the World Bank in India and East Africa, Kenya and Somalia. I'm engaged with teams that work on designing investments that can take proof of concept models to scale, especially with small farmer communities in these regions. And that's where my interest lies on how we can possibly utilize AI in solutions that take these solutions to scale for small farmers. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Madhuri. I've been working in agri-tech space for a decade now. And my last assignment was with a startup called Cultivate, engaged in IoT and remote sensing based precision farming, a drip irrigation system for various crops. So today, why I'm here, I want to understand how we can build solutions and integrate other plugin data, and how can we build more localized solutions for the farmers in masses for their development. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Vijit Srinivas. I'm working as a consultant with Samagra Governance. Presently, I'm working with the Department of Agriculture, Government of Odisha, and we are in process of implementing Ama Krushai, which is a chatbot built on Bhashani and ChatGPT to deliver advisory services to farmers on demand.
Hi everyone, this is Shirish Balyan. I'm from Labasna, Mussoorie. So I am here because just I wanted to know like what's all going in the tech space and everything, and then how we can teach all this to the officers training that are there and who are going to be SDMs, collectors in all this space. So in the end, all our objective is like how we can increase the penetration of this technology to the masses. So that's what our job is. Like we want to teach the IAS and IFSs that are there in our organization. So that's why I am here, and that's why I'm understanding like how we can increase the penetration of all this technology. So that's my task, and I'm also a data scientist with CMS Computers. So that's it for my introduction. Thank you.
Yeah. Hi. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ram Kiran Dulipala. Yeah, I represent an organization called the International Livestock Research Institute. So it's one of the CGIAR centers that Krishna was referring to. So I'm a senior scientist there, and my research area is digital agriculture and innovation. But prior to this, I spent about 7 years in ICRISAT where I set up the digital agriculture practice. And specifically, this falls right in my lap because this is exactly the area of interest. So that's my interest from this session.
Hi, my name is Salman. I work with Wadhwani AI. I work at an intersection of product development and the problem which have been told by the ministry. So I work closely with the Ministry of Agriculture, specifically with the extension reforms team. I work with digital agriculture. I work with National Crop Forecasting Center. So yeah, so I'm here to basically understand the ecosystem on the technology front, how it has been shaping up with using AI.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I am Kunal Kumar. I'm working as a Process Excellence and Industry 4.0 Manager with ITC Limited's Foods Business Division. So I've recently joined a not-for-profit, the Agri Collaboratory, and I'm interested to explore deep tech and AI solutions for ground-level problems in agriculture. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Anupam Verghese. I run a small startup called Tinkerbee Innovations. We make an agri-tech platform and sensors that are used to, get data from the farms. So far, my focus has been outside India, because I was not sure how or if it could be leveraged in India to benefit farmers in India. And my purpose here is to learn that.
If it's okay, we'll just wait for a few minutes. I wanted to get the joint secretary on this call because he has to step out. So get him here, get his introduction, we'll continue with this. It's okay. Good morning, Samuel. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Superb. Can you see the audience? I don't think, okay, let me...
Yeah, I can see. I can see Krishnan sir clearly.
Sam, thanks for joining.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
So just to give a background, Samuel, if it's okay, I'll just take a minute, set the context and hand it over to you. So we've been working with the Ministry of Agriculture over the last several months. And one thing I wanted to kind of, and just to introduce you on this call, is our Joint Secretary, Shri Samuel Praveen Kumar. And one thing which stood out for me, I'm sure Krish will also agree, is his relentless focus towards communities. While we really look at scale, I think one thing which is in every conversation I've had with Samuel has been, is it impacting the farmers, right? So that was something which I felt was very important when we design solutions for communities, is to keep the communities right at the center. The second is his bias for action, right? So I think many times the way he turns things around is much faster than what we can react, right? So again, that is important in such communities where we really have to galvanize engagement. So making things happen really quickly in a very smart way, right? So that was the second. And the most important thing, again, for this ecosystem is to innovate. I might not be able to say this for many departments, but I think here, wanting to try. So for those of you who worked on Lean probably know the whole validated learning process and the process of innovation accounting is exactly what is being practiced here, that with the recognition that some of these might not work, but can we try these out? Can we make sure that we at least give a shot, right? So bringing innovation and keeping that at the core of design is something which Samuel G has been absolutely advocating. So with that, Sam, can I request you to address the audience and the context here? Yeah, so you know the context. Go ahead.
First and foremost, thanks to Anand, who has been very generous in giving a very good intro for me, and thanks to Krishnan sir as well, with whom we have been working, very closely since the last few months. And now, very quickly, I'll just summarize our vision as to what we are looking up to, expecting from the various, technologies and innovations and the players who are there. See, since Green Revolution days, we have seen there's a lot of, potential for agriculture growth, and we have been expanding. And like any other sector, agri is also dependent on innovation and technology. So we have had some innovations, we have had some new technologies coming in. Thanks to those technologies, we have grown from a nation of a deficit to a nation of surplus. Now, what is bothering us is to how to manage our surplus. But having said that, have we really realized the potential of our agriculture sector? India is blessed with a large number of ecosystems, all types of crops. We are the leading, producer of some of the crops like pulses, millets, jute, and then we are number two in rice, wheat. In terms of numbers, we are producing about 315 million metric tons, and this year we are expecting about 323. And fruits and vegetables about 342. Huge numbers actually. But despite all this potential, when you come down to the issue of productivity per acre, what is your yield? Then we are, far behind many of the developed countries. In fact, even amongst developing countries, we are far behind. Now we have had several options before us: biotechnology, other technologies which are associated with agriculture. Some of the areas we have been, able to develop through some breakthrough technologies, some genome editing, and that kind of stuff. We are able to improve productivity, yields, build climate resilience. But then, in some of the areas, really, we are left with no options. So that is where we are looking at, innovations and technologies outside the sphere of agriculture. So what we believe firmly is that the next set of, revolution in agriculture will be actually driven by innovations and technologies outside the sphere of agriculture. When I say this, I'm mentioning about technologies like, blockchain or artificial intelligence, machine learning. These are the tools and applications which we believe firmly that they can, redefine the way we do agriculture over the next 10, 20 years. Mostly the technologies which have helped, will remain already. So what we are already following, like biotechnology, genome editing, and development of, climate resilient, climate smart crops, and good resistant varieties of seeds. All these things will remain, breeding technologies. But combined with the new technologies that are coming outside the sphere of agriculture, we hope that if we can test some of them, basically they have to impact the communities, they have to impact the farmers. Now, how do these technologies impact? We need to actually test, because AI is a very, sensitive thing. We can't keep playing around AI like a toy. So it has to be very carefully, utilized. See whether the application has got real value in terms of, helping the communities, whether we can upscale them for impact. So these are the issues. Now, technology dissemination also is another important part, because basically agricultural extension workers, scientists would be quite familiar with terms like breeding, genome editing, but they may not be familiar with, artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain, etc., etc. So we also have to build a capacity after doing the, testing of prototypes. We also need to ensure that our people are actually digitally upskilled, equipped, and also they get an idea, fair bit of idea. They cannot become a digital expert, but they'll have a fair bit of idea about what these are all, like new communication technologies, information, imaging technologies, digital education. All these things are, something which we are really looking at, and so that we can have these AI/ML based decision support systems and conversational tools, which will be able to not only help extension, but also help the, frontline workers who are all dealing with agriculture, be it a seed certifying officer, be it a plant protection officer. We are having wide variety of applications that actually can help. And secondly, digital public goods, have been mentioned in the budget speech recently by our Honorable Finance Minister. And the government is very keen to actually develop DPGs and DPIs in the field of agriculture as well. The work has already begun. We are already doing some activities like building the agri stack, wherein you have the crop registry, farm registry, and all those details coming into the system. Then you have this Krishi DSS, which is decision support system, that is again being built. We are also testing few prototypes, AI based, and one of them is obviously Apurva, which is being led by Anand. Anand has been very keenly pursuing and working with us. Just to highlight about what kind of an innovative and new tech-oriented things ministry is up to is, we have recently finalized an MOU with the Development Innovation Lab. All of you must have heard about Professor Michael Kremer, who is a Nobel laureate of development economics. They have established a lab called as Development Innovation Lab, Chicago-based, and they are offering services actually to several of the developing countries for testing some of the innovations that they are trying to evaluate. And we have identified 4 key areas. One is climate resilient seeds. The second one is weather forecasting advisories. The third one is digital agriculture like AgriStack and DSS. And the fourth one is soil health management. So in these areas, how the digital tools can actually help in decision making and also in enhancing the way we do agriculture. Coming to the digital extension, we are also working closely with Mr. Krishnan and his team, Digital Green, and recently we had an MOU with them as well. We want to empower and strengthen the agriculture extension system. Now, with about 2 lakh extension workers to reach to every farmer, we have about 13.5 crore farmers in our country. It is humanly impossible for these extension workers to reach out to each and every farmer. And some of the farmers may have access to technology, and even then they may not be able to come and actually personally meet the extension officer. So we thought we'll make use of the advancements in the field of mobile technology, internet penetration, and other digital tools that we have at our disposal. So we wanted to have two quick areas on which we can start our work. We have identified one area as development of a digital portal. It will be a knowledge-aware portal where we'll have audio, video content, advisories, and then we'll also have a capacity building program for these people. Because as I earlier said, just merely having a digital tool is not enough. Many of us will be using iPhones, but I am pretty sure that none of us will be using all the 100 features that are available in the phone, except for very few features which we regularly and repeatedly keep using it. But we don't want that such kind of a tool at the hands of farmers. We want that farmers should get value for money, and whatever tools in terms of government investments, whatever we are going to build must be fully exploited, fully used, and the farmer must fully benefit from those technologies. And we'll also have capacity building program built around initially about 40,000, 50,000 frontline workers, and then probably upscale it to other parts of the country. We are starting off with about 10 states, 170 districts. Primarily, some of the districts will be the aspirational districts where there's a lot of focus of government. And we'll also develop huge content, which is already available. We'll curate that. And we'll also be working on some new content and specific content. What we'll do is actually we'll identify those areas where the content is very less. Because in agriculture, you have new emerging areas, natural farming is there, millet is there, millet, International Year of Millets. We are focusing on millets, how to develop good varieties of millets, how we can actually improve the productivity of millets, and also how to mainstream millets so that people know the benefits of the nutritional, advantages of consuming millets. So these are the areas again. So what we intend to do is build digitally this, capacity of extension workers, and also have a good framework for digital education in the country, and empower them, empower the farmers through these tools. We are also working on this AML applications testing. Vadvani was actually helping us for this news monitoring, because we have a lot of news, coming up, and the media is very active. Somewhere some rain comes, immediately they make their own assessment and they say that the rains in Punjab and Haryana have actually destroyed the entire wheat crop, something like that. So we need to have a realistic, information on what actually is the extent of damage due to certain unseasonal, happenings, like some hailstorm or some rain. So for this, we need some AI tool, actually to monitor as to what is happening and all those. And we are also working on some of the applications, with Vadvani for KKMS, the Kisan Knowledge Management Center. This is linked up with the Kisan call centers. So when somebody is actually calling a call center, he is actually getting some advisory from the KKMS. Now, how we can improve the KKMS, how to build it much, make it more robust and more user-friendly, and also more beneficial for the farmers. So this is another area on which you are working with them. And lastly, we are also working with Apurva team, led by Anand, and we have identified 4 tracks during our initial conversations with them. And the 4 tracks are: one is the integrated plant health management, where we want to, ingest all the content that is available in various sources. No, there is rich content. We have 102 research institutes of ICAR. We have got about 731 Krishi Vigyan Kendras. Almost each district has got a Krishi Vigyan Kendra. And then you have the, extension setup of the state government. We have the extension setup of the central government. We support the scheme called SME, Submission on Agriculture Extension, which is specifically running a scheme called as ATMA, Agriculture Technology Management Agency. Under ATMA, we have these ATMs, BTMs, agri-technology managers, block technology managers. So all these people are actually working together for promoting technology, dissemination of new practices. So how do we strengthen them? That is the idea. but we have also found out that the innovations do emanate. Anand, you just tell me if I am overshooting my time. Yeah. I'll wind up. I'll wind up. So the farmers' innovations is one key area which we want to have a look at, because we do not have a system to capture what kind of a farmers' innovations do we have in our country. We do certainly know that the farmers' innovations is making an impact, because in some of the areas you see the yield of chilies is very high. In some of the areas the onion production is very high, but given the same set of climate, same set of conditions, the onion productivity is not good in some other places. Like for example, Nashik. Nashik productivity in Nashik, quality of onion is much better than onion grown in Karnataka or some other place. Now, what are those factors? What practices the farmers are following? And see, we should not underestimate our farmers. Our farmers are more knowledgeable and more informed than actually the agriculture scientists, because they really are doing the agriculture, and the impact of any technology or innovation only they can feel. So if they feel that they have got some benefit or some value proposition, then immediately they follow it, they implement it. But for us, it is just prescriptive. We just prescribe and go away from the spot. So farmers' innovations, we thought, is one of the key areas on which we should focus. We have identified about 2,000 innovative farmers in through the Atma setup and KVK setup in Tamil Nadu. In fact, we have made much headway in this. We had a seminar kind on March 8th, and we have also identified some nodal officers. These nodal officers again had a conference just 2 days back on 30th. Anand was, kind enough to actually spare some time. Since this Apurva thing has come up in Tamil also, so we could, I am also from Tamil Nadu, so we could actually interact with them and we could convince them that we should test this prototype. It will be very useful. And we are also, planning to test this Apurva for our in-house meetings, where we can actually have some rich knowledge and, exchange of ideas and a lot of things that can be actually captured. Instead of, capturing just 5 minutes, here you are going to capture the in totality, whatever, discusses. And then as the Apurva brain gets, evolved, developed through our conversations, we probably will be having a lot of insights and also a lot of pointers on which direction we should proceed. Farmers producers organizations is another area where we have identified to collaborate, because as we know, 85% of our farm holdings are small and marginal. We need to actually, if we have to benefit from the technology, innovations, mechanization, and all those advancements, then probably we need much bigger holdings. And so we are working with FPOs so as to promote more and more FPOs, have collectivization, so that we can have 100, 200 acres at one place, use probably drone technology, remote sensing, georeferencing. All these technologies will only come into place, come into practical utility if you are able to have a larger size of land holding. And lastly, when we had several interactions, weekly reviews, the idea that has come up is to also have an assessment on the ground about the impact of various government schemes. See, in Agriculture Ministry, some of them actually listen to scheme, PM Kisan, FMPPI, that is Farmers Fasal Bima Yojana. We have KCC, we have Agriculture Infrastructure Fund. So numerous schemes. How do we assess the impact of these schemes at the ground level? When the extension workers go discuss with the farmers, they can also capture this information as to how they have benefited. So that kind of a thing we thought we will work on. The prototype is getting rolled out from April onwards to ingest all this information and build a good system by which we can test the applicability or the utility of Apurva for in the field of agriculture. And we are very thankful that Anand has been very kind. We are also getting ready with an MOU, and that has already been submitted, and we'll shortly sign the MOU as well. And we hope that this will be something, a path-breaking thing that will change the course of the way agriculture is being done in our country. It is going to revolutionize the entire agriculture, sphere. So that is what we firmly believe in, and we are very keen to work with various stakeholders here, various innovators, researchers, so that we are able to bring an impact on the ground level. And surely it is, for the future generations that we are working now, we are going to make a definite transformation. I mean, transformative change we are going to bring about through the use of, these innovative tools. Anand, over to you. That is it. I have just tried to summarize in a nutshell, very fast. Okay, I think whatever you have said is now going to become a thing of the past, because largely we have been depending on physical records. Now, as I said, we are building this geo-reference agri stack where you are going to have the entire records. I'll tell you, in a very simple term, I'll tell you what this is going to mean for the entire sector. Tomorrow, if a gentleman comes and starts protesting against the government, saying that the government has not done anything for me, I am going to just log into AgriStack. AgriStack is going to be linked to the various schemes, benefits state-wise and also the land records. And it will just give me a list of all those things which the particular gentleman has availed. Starting from PM Kisan, then Fasal Bima Yojana, and also a loan from AIF, and also some support from various schemes for building infrastructure, maybe from NHP or something. And the whole list will be just with Aadhaar seeded. I just enter the Aadhaar number of that person, and all these things will come. And then we can just show it to him, gentlemen. This is the thing that you say. The government has not done anything for you. Just have a look at it. Do you think this is enough or you need more? So that is the situation where we want to reach. So digitally, we are going to build a system. It's not that, we are countering farmers, but we also want to show to the farmers credibly that there has been a system that has been built exclusively for the benefit of farmers. Let me tell you, the government is relentlessly working. I'm not supporting government because I'm in government, but the government is relentlessly supporting for, trying to come out with ways and means by which we are able to actually help the farmers. The main focus of the entire ministry is how to de-risk agriculture, how to make agriculture more predictive so that we are able to kind of buffer them from the vagaries of weather and unforeseen climate changes, and also to ensure that they get a remunerative price for their produce after they produce. So today a farmer must be upfront certain that I am going to grow, say, banana and I'll be getting this much yield. So that kind of an information, and then after he gets that yield, he will also get this much price, assured price. So you have various schemes, and therefore your KCC thing, which is basically a reactive system that we have built, will always have information plucked out from all these tools, from AgriStack, from Krishi Decision Support System, and also other AI tools that we are trying to build. In next 1 or 2 years, you will see this transformation actually happening on the ground.
Hi, this is Ashwin here. I'm I head innovation with Protean Eager, formerly NSDL. So right now we have AgriStack engagement with the central government. But now I also head the ONDC piece. I'm just wondering how, if we onboard FPOs onto ONDC, how could it benefit them?
Yeah, see, certainly one of the focus areas for government is to find wider market access for FPOs. See, the FPOs, the main problem for us is to have both forward and backward linkages. You produce something, but you are not able to make that produce reach the market in time. Every produce has got a shelf life. Now, when a produce has got a huge shelf life, like say grains, we are able to store them, we have infrastructure, and then we release them when required. But when the produce has a less shelf life, say for fruits and vegetables, then what are the strategies by which you are able to enhance that shelf life? You do it through a cold storage, you do it through the cold chains, you do it through some processing, plants. And despite all this, you still have the shelf life, extended only by, say, a few percentage. Maybe if the percentage is 50%, some crop has got 10 days of shelf life, you can enhance it to 15 days. Beyond 15 days, you can't increase it. Then what are the avenues? Beyond 15 days, if you have to do, then you'll have to do some kind of a primary processing, some secondary processing. So these are the ways. And then the market access for these producers. How do you do the market linkages? You do it either through onboarding them on ENAM, you do it through, other, channels of marketing. Warehouse-based sales is one concept that has come up, right from warehouse itself where you are storing, so that while in storage, you can sell that. And if you are not able to sell it, it will remain in storage. And then electronic negotiable warehouse receipt-based transactions. So these are all coming up. And again, ONDC is going to also make, remarkable transformation in the way we are doing the, transactions, commerce. So linking up is a very good idea, and that will happen in due course of time. See, Anand, it's a very good question and also a very tricky question in the sense. See, it's a double-edged sword for us when we are following all these, technologies. There will always be somebody who is very skeptical. In fact, I was myself very skeptical initially. Farmers' data, what about the data privacy? But having said that, you'll have to weigh the options. I'll have to actually list out those questions, which I can do conventionally, and also list out same set of questions, whether they can be achieved through some artificial intelligence. Say, for example, I have to ingest the entire content that is available in the domain of ICR on pest management or plant health management. It is humanly impossible for me to do that. So that is the window of opportunity for me, right? Today, I don't have any mechanism to actually ingest the entire information that is available in the farmer's brains in terms of the innovations or practices that they're following. So the answer for conventional tools to help me is again gone. I have to go for something new, that is AI. So I have to actually weigh the options available for me under each, track or each sector, FPOs. Do I have a mechanism for actually having the conversations of FPOs 10,000 FPOs we are trying to form, and about 5,000 have already been formed. Do we have that capacity which can actually ingest this knowledge and also give us some insights on, and also highlight some of the challenges of FPOs which we can dedicatedly focus on? Now, what we are doing is like we are giving a prescription in general. Are we able to make it very, very specific? I keep telling very often when I interact with people for the farmers, when you are actually looking at advisories or, you know, some kind of a communication dissemination technology, for farmers, it is ATS. You know, ATS, we call it as anti-terrorist squad. But here I call accuracy, you know, timeliness and specificity. It should be as specific as, you know, possible to suit the needs of the farmer. A chili farmer in Guntur and a chili farmer in Kovilpatti have different kind of requirements. They have different soils, they have different climatic conditions, and the varieties that are grown are also different. So therefore, I cannot just say that the solution that is applicable for Guntur is applicable for Srivilliputturu or say Kovilpatti. So specificity for me is important. Are we able to build a system through conventional tools to address this issue? Definitely the answer is no. So what I have to do is to do a lot of brainstorming, do a lot of convincing, do a lot of canvassing, and then, you know, before I develop an artificial brain, let me actually target the natural brain of people and convince them fully well that, see, Baba, ये तो हो ही नहीं सकता हमसे, तो इसके लिए हमें कुछ नया करना ही पड़ेगा. And that is how we, you know, I mean, from ministry side, I am vigorously pursuing, and I am being supported by my secretary, my additional secretary. All of them are, you know, inclined to this idea that technology is the way out. So therefore, Anand, partly I have answered your, you know, question that this is the major challenge. Now, going into the second part, how do we implement this? You know, at the ground level, we have several kinds of people, several thought processes, farmers who may be keen to give, who may not be keen to give. And therefore, we need to again do that convincing at the ground level as well with the frontline extension. And that is what we have been doing actually. When we went to sell this concept, everybody here becomes a salesman. You need to do your best to actually convince a, you know, bachelor that there will be a requirement for cradle in future. So therefore, you buy a cradle now itself. You know, maybe the cost will shoot down later on. So something like that. Thank you all for this opportunity. Would have loved to actually be a part of this interaction there live, but because of my commitments towards G20 ADMs and other meetings, which concluded yesterday in Chandigarh, I was awfully busy. I just landed late night yesterday. So that is why I thought I'll join online and share my thoughts on agriculture. Thanks, and thanks. I should specifically tell you that Anand has been you know, Anand and Krishnan, both of them, they have been like, you know, rock solid pillars for us. Our idea of, you know, this technology is at the ground level being implemented only because of their help that they are giving to the ministry. So thanks, Anand. Thanks a ton, Krishnan sir. Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Bye.
You know, whenever we interact, his energy, his conviction, his passion makes us tired, actually. And it's contagious. Okay, going back to round of introductions because we are running behind time. Okay, so can we start from you?
So my name is Uni Nair. I am heading digital farming within Bayer Crop Science for Asia Pacific. So specifically, India is the laboratory for us to test all kinds of models before we take it to other countries. So I'm very much interested to know what's actually being discussed and what is the opportunity we see moving forward.
Hi, good morning. I'm Nipun Mehrotra, founder of the Agri Collaboratory. So we are a not-for-profit. I have a business and a technology background, but in the Agri Collaboratory, we are an ecosystem builders. We're working on co-creating digital public goods for agri, also trying to use what is there existing in the market, like ONDC, etc., working with them. The use case that we have picked up is agri credit, because we think that's a large, nice, complicated use case that can subsume a lot of AI and a lot of technology.
Hi, this is Timana. I represent Watslone. I'm the founder. It's an agri fintech company, a combination of agri and the money. The farmer, whatever you want to sell, AI, ML, whatever, or the technology you want to sell, he says, where is the money? I solve the problem of the money, not alone. With the banks, there are big banks who have got a mandate to lend. There is a borrower, but they're not connecting well. We solved that, as I said, we have picked up a KCC, Kisan Credit Card, which is the largest lending program in the world. And we brought their 8 to 10 weeks of turnaround time to 2-3 minutes. This is approved by RBI Innovation Hub, and we're scaling up to multiple states.
Fantastic. We need to keep it shorter, please. And you can.
I'll keep it very short. Yeah, hi, this is Yogesh Gowda here. I've been a tech guy for last 3 decades. Built some really large solutions for the financial sector, banking, exchanges and stuff like that, including as a part of the first commodity exchange. I'm here to understand what ails the sector and what's an insight I get out of this and what is it that I can contribute back. So that's essentially why I'm here.
Hi, my name is Alok. I'm part of Google. I think Manish probably gave a little bit of a sneak peek on what we do. We are mostly focused on building remote sensing based machine learning outputs that will be integrated as part of the Agri stack. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Samit, and I'm a part of leading the data analytics for Bharat Bank, and basically in a private bank specifically. And I work in the intersection of data, insight to an action. So basically implementing them in using the machine learning algorithm. What I'm interested over here is in my personal capacity to understand more about how these innovations of generative AI is going to come in and how it is going to play a big role and how that can converge into the agri credit.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Chitwan. I work with the NSR cell, which is the incubation center at IIM Bangalore. I lead their tech for good startup. So we are looking at incubating around 100 startups. And I hope to just be here, learn what's out there, so we can use that learning and to design the programs further. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Pankaj Chavla. My expertise is mostly into sensing technologies, data platforms, and infrastructure. Been in this space for, not in the agri space, but in this sensing space for the last 3 decades now. So here to learn about how that can be leveraged in agriculture and provide some support there. Thank you.
Yeah. Hello everyone, my name is Yogesh Sinkar. I work with Samunati. Samunati is an agri-value chain enabler. Right now I'm working on making tech platforms for enabling farmer level lending. So I'm interested in how this space of AI can help us do that in the most optimum way.
Hi everyone, my name is Ashish. I am representing Mahiko. Mahiko is a seed company and I'm here to understand how AI tools can be used to help both our customers as well as the industry.
Hello everyone, I worked for government for the last 3 decades. That is Central Food Technological Research Institute. I think now I am my own. Actually, my interest is in preparing the nutrition analytics. In the same way, food safety. I think even though we consider food and nutrition also a kind of agriculture domain. So I'm interested to, even I think I applied a few projects to DST also in the similar domain. So I'm looking forward how to collaborate, how to bring into some kind of value addition to the agriculture.
Hi everyone, I'm Puneet. I have been working in the agri-tech industry for about 4-5 years now. I'm looking to learn how we can use AI in the agri-tech and understand how we can leverage this new technology.
Hi, I'm Parth. I'm from Techdi Technologies and been working in creating digital public goods and scaling them with Xstep for a while. And we'll be working with Digital Green for the National Agricultural Platform as well. So looking forward to learning how AI can help us enable and increase reach.
Hi, I'm Shubham. I'm currently working with the Bajaj FinServ Group as part of the unsecured lending team. I also contribute to the Sustainable Green Initiative, which is a foundation which works with farmers to improve their income through the agroforestry model. And that's what brings me here. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I work for Oracle Cerner. So I'm here to learn more about AI in agriculture. So yeah, looking forward for that. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dilip. In agri-space, I'm specifically looking at once the produce is there, what is the next? What is the optimizations and how can we achieve more ROI on it? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Such a vibrant, wide experience group. You have listed out your expectations, but to meet those expectations, not just discussions that are going to happen here, but also build your own network, partnerships, communities, so that you can take forward your objectives. Yeah. Over to you to describe the breakout.
And also, I think you all recognize that. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Hello everyone, I am Naman and I really like to drink coffee. That's the first thing that you should know about me. And the second thing is I am the founder of a startup known as Krishi Connect. We have worked with around 9,000 farmers and 50 FPOs over the last 2 years. And we are working in the field of deploying big data and computer vision models through remote sensing to create impact in the field of everyday farmers. As of now, we have developed the biggest milestone that we have yet is during 2021 or 2020, I do not remember. There was a locust attack on most of the northern part of India. We were successfully able to predict the movements of locusts using chaos theory and big data and able to send it to the Odisha government before it arrived there. That's the biggest thing that we've done yet.
Thank you. Thanks. And also just to make a point that this conversation doesn't end today. Right, this is going to be a series. You will have to build a community. It takes a lot of effort, commitment, time. So today is more of an introduction. So we just wanted to kickstart this process. But I think there were questions on what to learn. That's going to be a journey. So let's not present, but I'll just take you through the 2 tracks. Oh, it's here. Okay. So there it is. So we have 2 tracks. One is a top-down approach of how do you look at knowledge, which is advisories coming from the larger network itself, right? So you have a lot of actors who provide advisory services. How do you bring the knowledge to a farmer? So farmer somewhere here. On the other side, we also have a lot of knowledge which the farmer has. So how do you surface the knowledge? And we have 2 needs. One is how do you surface the knowledge for farmers to learn from each other? And the second is how does the knowledge help the rest of the actors? It could be policymakers, it could be think tanks, it could be academia, it could be startups. How can this knowledge of the farmers help them design and contribute better solutions which can create a virtuous loop? So in effect, both of these go hand in hand, and which is technically the project we are working with the ministry, where all of this gets integrated. But what we would love for you to do is, if you can take this as one piece and try and see how do you unpack this, and take this as another piece and try and see how you unpack this. Now, what do I mean by unpack, right? So in this context, we will still look at some AI components and we can keep going through this journey. But if you can start with a problem, I think the most important challenge always is to start with a problem and not with a solution. So if you can look at the problem and try and see what are the characteristics of the problem from both these sides. And second is bring the flavor of AI. What could AI do to address these problems? It could be, so you might identify many problems, maybe pick one for each group because you will not have time to kind of unpack all of those. Agree on one important problem for each of these tracks. Look at maybe few solutions which might be instrumental in solving the problem as the second. Third is also try and recognize what is impact. So I think putting that up front helps a lot. So if you can look at the impact of your solution in solving the problem, something like a North Star metric, right? A metric which can be defining that space itself. And fourth, I think which is very important is look to see how do you bring the community or the ecosystem to solve. So which all actors have to come together to solve this. So if you can look at these 4 kind of components of this track. One is the problem, examine the problem, try to understand the characteristics of the problem. Second is look at solutions from the AI space. That's really where we are. You could look at other things, but look at AI. Third is look at impact. And fourth is the ecosystem, right? Now you will do the same for the farmer innovation. You will do the same for the advisory. And the way we will go about breaking this is, I think we can look at 4 breakouts, 4 groups, and 2 groups picks up the advisory and 2 groups picks up the innovation, right? So maybe I don't think there is any preference. I think it's a very blended team. Maybe this group starts with advisory, innovation, advisory, innovation, right? If that's okay with you, 4 groups. We will spend the next, I think we might be a little behind on time, but what we'll try and do is, before we break at 1:30, I think, for lunch. Right? So if you can use this time to examine these characteristics, then when you come back, we'll have each of you present your tracks. Right? So one point of contact, you decide a lead from your track, who presents this. So we have 4 presentations. Towards the end of that, one of you will communicate that as part of the larger group to Nandan, and then we'll have 2 more volunteers from here who can be part of they have a session, right? So which we'll kind of introduce. Yeah, there is a panel session going on. So if that's okay, I think we should start. Any questions before we start? It might be good to, I think the scarce resources here could be government. I saw 2 from government, so I don't know, maybe you'll have to spread yourself, but you can try and bring that characteristic. But I think I saw a good blend of tech and also the agri space. So we should be broadly okay. So any questions before we start? Maybe I missed this out, but the whole intention is that while we build this community, I think we want to make your knowledge and engagement very relevant. So one of these actions would be that we would take this back and try and see how do we infuse it into the programs itself. So if there is an opportunity, because we are in a prototyping, piloting phase, if there are learnings, we would want to quickly apply it. So we are seeing many multifaceted challenges. There is a challenge of knowledge. There is a challenge of connections, because nobody knows who's doing what. Even if you look at knowledge, there's a very varied challenge in knowledge. There's very centralized knowledge, there is knowledge in communities. So I think it's fairly spread out in terms of what. You unpack it the way you feel. Let's try and see how we integrate it. On innovations, it is a bottoms up view, right? So I'll tell you what is going on with the ministry, and the reason, guys, can you just give me 1 second, please? Because it will help us add to what we are working. That's the point. So in the ministry, what we are doing is trying to aggregate farmer innovations. So farmer innovation could be on any form. It could be on pest management, disease management, optimizations of resources, automation, whatever they are doing. And we want to be able to surface it onto a platform and make that available for farmers to begin with, and then make it available for the larger ecosystem. Because once these innovations are there, then the ecosystem can optimize that and create better solutions back to the farmers. And also inform the policy on how to do things. Maybe there are challenges, there are opportunities. Maybe inform the knowledge, the research. Because the research might say that this doesn't work. And this was a conversation I had with Secretary, because Secretary was on a field visit, and the research team in the office said that, no, this doesn't work. And the Secretary pushed them back and said, farmers know what they do. What they are doing works on the field, figure it out, right? So he made a point that innovations happen on the ground, surface it back to your research, surface it back to your academia, and learn from that, and also make it standardized so that the larger community benefits, right? So this is all about farmer innovation.
quick attention, please. Everyone, quick attention. We have 4 minutes to go for the lunch break. So at least try to complete one part of your discussion before you go. And lunch break is going to be the place where we had coffee tea. And after that, we'll be going back to the plenary, then assembling back again here around 3 o'clock. Okay, so the same group will continue. We have 3 minutes to go. So at least try to complete one segment of the objective or goals that we have for this session. Then we are breaking for lunch. Lunch is in the same place where they were serving coffee tea. And exactly after an hour, 2:30, we'll be going back to the plenary, listening to a couple of more rapid talks, and then coming back here to the same groups, and then continue the discussion for half an hour more. Okay, so that's the plan. And of course, that after that half an hour, we are supposed to synthesize everything, and the group representatives will present what they found very quickly. So that's the plan. 3 minutes, we'll break and then go to the lunch room. We did not elaborate on the solutions right now, but at least identify what could be that solution that can address those problems. Number two, now most important, all these things, technology, AI, whatever we talk about, means nothing if it is not impacting the lives of a farmer on ground. So what is that as a community we need to keep in mind, so that the benefit of it actually goes down to the farmer herself on ground. And the last part is, again, very quickly look at, as a community, as an ecosystem, what is the role that we have to play, the ecosystem has to play in advancing this agenda that we have on table today. So roughly about 20 minutes to go from now, and very quickly after that, we'll have to do a very quick presentation from each of the table on what the table or what the group came out with, right? And then we need to put it together and then take it back to the plenary. Anand, you would like to add something?
No, I think, so have you all just completed the problem, or some of you went forward? It's only the problem. Okay, so then yeah, we'll have to do this. So you have 20 minutes to do this exercise. Then we'll do 5 minutes per table. That gives us another 20 minutes. And then one volunteer who can synthesize this conversation, we need one person who would do that. We need somebody from the community to present this to Nandan. Anybody wants to volunteer? Okay, super. Okay, so we do that. And then the panels will look at it. So we also need 2 participants for the panel discussion. So anybody who wants to one, two of you. Yeah, let them do it. Okay, cool. So I think you can start now. 20 minutes, and last 20 minutes, 5, 5, 5, 5. Let's do a session.
Based on whatever solution aspect of it. The first one is basically how do we lower the bar for sharing best practices at the farmer side. That's the first one. Then the second one is how do we really translate the content in whatever language it is going to come, whatever format it's going to come, and start to codify it. Then the third one is how do we make sure that this is not fake, but it's filtered and verified and confirmed. And the fourth one is how do we publish it so that it can be used for wider consumption. So these are the four aspects of the solution. From an impact perspective, what we said is the first one is if one person is able to crack the problem and generate better yield, sharing that will automatically generate much larger yield. So that's the first impact we are going to have. The second one is if someone is sharing such a best practice, that particular person's information can be used for financial inclusion and benefits. So it's basically larger loan at cheaper rates, for instance. And the third one is basically we can create a good innovation knowledge bank out of this particular exercise. Now the fourth one is ecosystem role to scale. The first one is about awareness creation at farmer level. That's the first thing. So how do we really go and tell farmers that such things exist? Because we all know that in internet there is too much information, but we know how much we read, right? That's the first thing. Second one is ground level verification. So we are talking about a scale, huge amount of villages, 650,000 villages in India. How do you really go to these places and verify and confirm? And then propagating the best practices across large geographies. How do we really do that? That's the third one, right? This is where ecosystem can play a role. And in terms of ecosystem, what we have identified is the primary agriculture centers, the PACs, which we have, FPOs, NGOs, and of course, farmers themselves. That's what we concluded. Thank you.
What happens is he maybe loses out on some monetary benefit because he was the sole provider of that good quality substance. So how do you address this issue? Maybe the farmer will want to keep the information with him. Yeah. So is there an incentive model that can be taken up? Or?
Exactly. That's the reason we said if we can connect it to financial benefits, such as loan, like cheaper rate loan, etc. If we can connect to that, then that basically gives us acts as an incentive for farmers to share their best practice. So exactly. So incentivizing innovation is something. And the other one which we have to always remember is the pride aspect of it. Many people would like to share
social gain.
Indeed. I mean, if you look at the WhatsApp group of farmers, you can always see these guys standing in front of their, producers and then taking photos and sharing it because it's a pride aspect of it.
If the farmer is innovative enough, his innovation would be, the market will help him shape and share that innovation. So we don't want the government to intervene in innovation because typically when government starts doing innovation, then it sets up an innovation fund, an innovation department, and an innovation stack, and an agri stack, which finally then ends up being non-innovative in that sense. So maybe, but we decided to frame the problem. We said that what the farmer actually needs from the AI ML world is a customized solution that can basically help him or enable a better decision making for him to choose a better seed, to choose a better fertilizer, to choose a better pesticide, basically with the objective that he wants to increase his yield or his money that he earns. So can AI help him do that? the wisdom of the group decided that the AI can help curate such a solution for him. Currently, these counters of that system would be basically unstructured data which are possibly not available fully at the moment, in the sense that we don't have perfect data about his soil condition or his water condition, but the data will get better and better, and and if the AI focuses on that and somebody focuses on the problem, then the data will get collected. There were 3 or 4 other components of this system that we think is important. One was the fact that currently the farmer is distrustful of any advisory or information that is given to him by KVKs, government, NGOs, apps, and so on and so forth, because they are not customized to his needs. His needs are actually his needs, and they cannot be generalized across even adjoining farm. Therefore, trust is a big problem. So the technology or the system needs to basically incubate trust or institutionalize trust by using an existing system which has trust. The example my colleague gave was that like you use SBI to give a different loan. Can you use some system that the farmer already trusts? It could be a regional system, it could be a government system, it could be something that you trust. We talked a little bit about the fact that what kind of advisory and this information he would need. We thought about basically 4 or 5 elements of advisory: planning what to crop or seed to choose, practices of packages that he needs to do, scheduled applications of certain elements, inputs that goes into his farming. These are the kind of advices you would need customized to him. Here's this thing. On the impact side, we think that basically there are 2 elements here. This particular system actually impacts all farmers, because every farmer, whether large, small, or micro, needs customized solutions. His farm is different from other farms. His water is different. Soil is different. There's a kahawat in Hindi that har mile pe pani or 4 mile pe wani. Every mile you change water, and every 4 miles you change language. So we think that affects all farmers. We also think that AI can help in one more crucial pitch of impact, which is basically real-time data. Now there's an oversupply. If tomato does well, mango does well in Hapur or Hosur, then everybody's planting. Mangoes you can't plant because mango crop is a 3 or 5-year-old plant. But if you are planting tomatoes, if there's one good crop of tomatoes from an area, every farmer starts planting tomatoes. The supply increases, the prices drop. This is true for all commodities, barring certain specialized crop where quality matters a lot. So we feel that real-time data using AI to collect and disseminate that data will have an enormous impact on the decision of choosing which crop to plant.
So what we talked about is, what are the challenges? So there is a lot of data out there, like sir was saying right now. There's a lot of data out there. How do we make it consumable to the farmer, right? In context, in relevance. So what we looked at as a solution is effectively a AI farm advisory. Effectively a super personalized AI farm advisory that is curated for my problem statement. Of course, it has its own frictions. That can the farmer provide all the data inputs required to really make this advisory effective. The other part is that the input data is humongous in the sense of we talked about supply, market. So the supply itself, what does the market demand? What kind of a gap is there? There is the iCare and Atma advisories that are there, which is expert scientific knowledge. There is weather, soil, logistics availability, what kind of produce am I creating, things like do I want to export my produce, so that changes the entire game, right? So there is so what we are thinking of is there is a data network where agricultural schemas are defined so that data can be flowing in the consumable, digestible format from trusted sources. So obviously for this AI to work well, the trusted source angle is super critical. where it is coming from untrusted sources, it has a validation verification layer. And then there is a farmer registry context that we were talking about, because if you want to make it hyper-local, if you want to make it super specific to the farmer's requirements, you need to be able to really have a good source of data attributes about the farmer. So the solution statement is a curated AI farm advisory for the crop I want to grow in the region I want to grow, and not something that is coming on a district level or on a broad level, but something very curated to my requirement. Of course, that opens a lot of challenges, but that would be probably the perfect solution if we can crack it.
Yes. With the consent of my group members, I am speaking on your behalf, but please feel free to jump in. Okay. So we quickly identified that, after you would have seen some of the work that we put on the board, we identified the real problem is there is no robust agriculture knowledge management system with very strong metadata that renders itself to codification of agriculture knowledge. And the knowledge, when we are referring to this knowledge management system, the knowledge in agriculture sits not just in the agricultural and the formal research institutions, but there's a wealth of knowledge even with the farmers on the ground, because it's all traditional knowledge which they have inherited over generations of practice and observing it, right? So we do not have a knowledge management system which is able to collate all this with strong metadata and renders itself to become more AI compliant, for a lack of a better word, okay? So that's a problem. Now, if we are able to create something like this, written it in detail, so therefore I'm just searching for it. Okay, is it something written there? Yeah, here it is. I'm sorry. Yeah, so what is the solution we are proposing, right? So the solution is we are proposing what we propose. This came as if at all it comes to life, it will become some sort of a digital public infrastructure, which is federated in nature and built in a public-private partnership mode, and renders itself to what we are calling as decentralized innovation. Because the thought process is, agriculture is so fragmented, so diverse, so heterogeneous, you can't really sit in one centralized institution and try to solve problems for everybody, right? So you need to create that sort of infrastructure which renders itself to innovation very close to the source of the problem, right? So this is so again, to create this sort of solution landscape, you need a blend of data, process, people, technology, logistics, including a system where, there is an instant feedback and validation from the farmer as well. Because the one thing that came very strongly from the group is, each time a solution gets created, it also needs to have a learning loop back from the farmer, right? So that's how this, this system continues to learn. So that was our AI-based solution. Now the third one is impact, what it really means for a farmer. So here also we have a statement which says, what we are trying to get at is personalized advisory to the farmer at scale at an affordable cost, which is again a blend of scientific knowledge and expert knowledge, as well as farmers' own inherited knowledge, traditional knowledge or indigenous knowledge, which I think the other group has been discussing. And the last one, ecosystem role. Yeah, so there was a small framework one of my colleagues create here. So as far as the data sources are concerned, the ecosystem that creates the sources of data are, of course, R&D institutions, governments, private players, NGOs, and farmers themselves. If you're speaking about farmers being participants in the creation of products, so be it. Farmers also have to contribute data. Then the AI and solution players, that is basically technology companies and all the Microsofts, Googles, and IBMs of the world. Then as far as channels are concerned, the channels here are telecom players, agtechs, FPOs, and NGOs. Because in the morning also, one thing that came very clearly is, content is one thing, but you also need a lot of innovation on the channel. Because India is such a diverse country, you need to have that ability to feed your content and personalized advisory across those pluralistic and secular channels, so to say. If I missed anything, kindly feel free to add. Thank you.
Can we give a big hand? Thanks. Any questions? We can just take one if anyone has any remark.
Yeah. Sir, one thing is this kind of export, we are linking with the export requirement. See, everything cannot be internally consumed, so farmers will not get value. So that kind of data also it should be collected. Total global knowledge and other.
Can I respond to that? Okay. See, it's a very valid point. So therefore, farmer has to be co-creator of the advisory service, right? Even before I consume the advisory, there has to be some basic data that the farmer himself or herself has to provide, right? Like, what is my risk preference? Am I a young farmer willing to take a risk, and do I have other sources of income, or this is my only source, right? Yeah. So in that sense,
farm advisory always has to be in a co-creation mode, right? And of course, there are some logistical challenges, so you minimalize the amount of data that you seek from the farmer. Now, that is, I think, a very important design aspect. Coming to biases, it's absolutely a very valid question, and in fact, that's what brings me to the other point. Why public sector should be creating these sorts of ag advisory systems is, if you leave it to the market will only go after those players, large players, from who are profitable. Naturally, you are excluding, and naturally, when therefore the data, the training data that I collect will itself have an inherent bias. Only when public sector creates this sorts of digital public infrastructure where inclusion, equitability are factored in right from the start, you will take it from me, you will create only systems which are inherently biased.
I just wanted to add a nuance there.
Due respect, public systems are also not unbiased. Like we cannot say they are not working on bias.
For the public sector part, instead of public sector, actually it should be created in non-profit sector instead of public sector, because public sector brings its own inefficiency, while your volunteer sector brings far more efficiency into correcting the market structure.
Sure.
So DPI, DPG is all non-profit.
No, can I just respond to,
please,
if there's, with your permission, or if you want to be more inclusive and have others?
We should be talking more about solutions and less about governance structure.
20 seconds.
Going a little off topic.
20 seconds.
20 seconds. No, see, he said what he said is a very valid point. 15. So public-private partnership is the answer, right? Public sector has good intentions, private sector has that right. So we need to figure a middle ground where both can come together. I think UPI, Aadhaar are great examples. That's all my response.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think it was a wonderful participation, rich discussion that we have had, and needs further probing. But one thing that came out quite clearly, at least for me, before I hand over to Anand, is that there is a willingness, there is an interest that yes, there is a possibility, there is a potential, and that we can work together, right? There is also a clear understanding that agriculture is not a very linear subject. It is very complex, it's very fragmented, and what works in one area might not work in another area. It might be the same commodity, the same kind of land or land size that you have, but what works in one area might not. So AI gives us potential solution at impact and at scale, which can actually identify these complexities and then offer curated ideas to the farmers. We also agree that there is enormous innovation that's happening on a day-to-day basis on ground, right? And how do we bring that up, right? Through organic growth that needs to happen, and we need to give that incentives for farmers to continue those innovations, and the science can actually help the farmers to be better informed in building that innovations on ground, right? And we also talked about a centralized, decentralized structure. Like content can be at the centralized level, but the diffusion of that content, the absorption of that content has to be at a highly decentralized level. These are some of the ideas that I could pick up. It's such a short time, even in spite of that, we came out with such brilliant answers, and all the best, and as we go to the next session. To close.
No, I was just going to say that we had probes in other groups. We understand this was the most active group. So thank you so much for that. Most vibrant. I think rest of the groups, it was knowledge being pushed. I think here there's knowledge being shared. So thank you so much. And this is just the beginning. I think we assemble in the main. Okay. Who's the, so you are the person who's going to present to Nandan, and then we needed 2 volunteers. Who are the 2 volunteers? One. No. That is he's going to present all. You got a 5-minute short, and then this is going to be a panel. You'll be in a panel discussion.
Take few minutes so that we'll break for tea in few minutes. Let him.
No, I think tea is after this session, not now. We're not doing the tea now.